let's explore the oldest city in America.
Hey there, MamFam. We're exploring St. Augustine, Florida today.
St. Augustine is about a 2-hour drive away from Orlando, and it is the oldest city in the nation.
Well, technically speaking, it is the oldest continuously occupied settlement of European origin in the contiguous United States.
Hard to imagine why they shortened that.
I don't see why. Today we're going to check out some famous landmarks, enjoy some local fare, and explore the city and maybe have a spooktacular time later on this evening.
So come on, there's lots to do. Let's go.
St. Augustine was founded, read colonized, by the Spanish in 1565, 42 years before the English colonized Jamestown, and 55 years before the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock, just to give you a little bit of a timeline here. So it's been around for a while. And this is the nation's first enduring settlement. And as it is seated on the Atlantic Ocean, St. Augustine is well known for its beaches, but St. Augustine's historic district has made it a well-known tourist attraction. And you know what? I've never been.
I haven't either.
So I'm looking forward to exploring some things.
Yeah, I hear I have to climb at some point.
Oh yeah, that is something we're gonna have to do. Our first stop is Paladar's Cuban Eatery. We're gonna grab a cup of coffee and a pastry and maybe a Cuban burger, if I looked at the menu correctly. This space is owned by 2 Cuban women, Nelly Santiago and Isela Gonzalez, and it is a casual bakery and eatery. In fact, the word Paladar translates in Spanish to palate, or in Cuba it's used to refer to a small independent family-run restaurant that's often situated in a private home for folks to come and interact intimately with Cuban culture. And I'm excited to do that through food.
Taking a look at the menu, they've got a variety of sandwiches, including breakfast sandwiches and other traditional breakfast dishes. They've got a bunch of sandwiches, including, of course, a traditional Cuban sandwich. And they're also the only place in northern Florida that sells a frita cubana, which is a Cuban burger. So I definitely think we're ordering that. Additionally, they have some other items like bowls. Then, of course, they've got a huge pastry case where you're going to have pastelitos and empanadas and croquetas, as well as other treats and delicious-looking items. And then, of course, coffee. So a variety of Cuban-style coffees, as well as some lattes and others. Our first round of feeding will begin shortly, as we have picked up a couple things from the bakery case. We have a chicken croqueta. One of these is a cheese pastelito. One of these is a guava and cheese pastelito. TBD which one's which. Was just about to dig into these delicious pastries and our coffees arrived. I got a cafe bonbon, which I've had at Grandestino Tower, but it is espresso and condensed milk. Alan, what did you get?
I picked up a cafe cubano without sugar, which looks like an espresso shot, which is exactly what I need to start my day this morning.
Yeah, you can tell the coffee is excellent. Slightly sweet because of that sweet condensed milk. Added a little thickness to it, but it's cutting through the rich espresso, which is like perfect. This is fantastic. Okay, now I'm gonna try one of these pastries. I'm gonna guess this is the cheese one.
One of my friends loves
It's perfect. It's a flaky, delicious, crumbly exterior, buttery. It's got some nice mild cheese inside, and then it's slightly sweet because of the honey drizzled on top. All of it, it's like a little bit sweet, but it's like a perfect pastry for someone like me. The guava version. That one was... Okay, as good as the cheese one is, the guava and cheese takes it to a whole new level, because now, in addition to that nice cheese flavor and the buttery, crumbly crust and the honey, you have this like tart, fruity guava addition. The ratio is perfect. The crust is perfection. Like, I'm obsessed with this, and I wonder how many they'll let me take to go.
Cheers. It feels so small in my hands. Rich, smooth, beautiful espresso. Exactly what I need after the drive down here today. Up here today? What is up here? Yeah, up here. Anyway, croqueta, chicken. The crust, crispy, thick. The chicken falls apart. So much rich flavor on the inside there. I'm just gonna say it. These compete with Jaleo. These are incredibly good. So rich. They're not as like gooey as what you're gonna get at Jaleo on the interior. It has a little bit more body, so it stands up and has a little bit more chew. But wow, I could absolutely destroy the entire bakery case of these and not have a second thought about it. And now our main courses have arrived. I have picked up the frita cubana, which is a Cuban hamburger made of beef, pork, and chorizo, served with our special sauce topped with crispy shoestring potatoes and mariquita chips. Molly has picked up the El Cubano, which is the traditional Cuban sandwich. This is made with sweet roasted ham, mojo marinated pork, Swiss cheese, pickles, and mustard on pressed Cuban bread.
I don't even know where to start. This is phenomenal. I don't even know where to begin. First of all, the meat cooked perfectly, not dry at all. You got that tangy zip from the mustard, and a little bit of acidity from the pickle. The cheese, obviously I love the cheese, but you've got a ton of this Swiss cheese on there that's adding that kind of like nuttiness flavor when it comes to Swiss cheese. But honestly, the real star of the show is this bread, which is toasted, so it's like firm enough to hold up to all these toppings, but it's also still melting and light. This is simple deliciousness. This is a classic sandwich done incredibly well, and I'm very happy right now.
Okay, well, the bun, that's gotta be house made. Okay, I don't even know how to start here. That's phenomenal. First of all, the bun. Light, fluffy, a little bit sweet. Crispy potatoes on top, fried beautifully, adding a little bit of a nice textural change. The sauce, a little bit tangy, a little bit spicy. Not super spicy, but just enough to let you know that it's there. The star of the show is that patty. Chorizo, beef, pork, all together. It is juicy. Even in its dreams, it couldn't be dry. It is just probably the juiciest burger I've ever had, period. It doesn't have the heat of the chorizo that most people would come to expect of like a spicy chorizo, but it does have a lot of that wonderful spicy quality. It's flavored so beautifully well, and it still has the firmness that holds up with the beef and the pork. I'm blown away by that. That was so incredibly tasty, and it was so good. We picked up some pastries to go.
Yeah, we're staying at a hotel for a wedding that's gonna have some kind of continental breakfast, and I assure you I would rather eat pastries from here than that, so I had to get some to go. What a wonderful treat. Now, this is a little out of the way if you're going to the main kind of touristy part of St. Augustine. The historic district's about 20 or so minutes away, so we stopped here on our way into town, but I think well worth it.
Absolutely. The food was all delicious. It felt, I don't know, something about the restaurant and space itself just felt really homey, felt super family oriented. It felt like we were walking into somebody's like just family space, and that was a blast. Plus the food, man.
Yeah, they even had pictures of the two owners. We were talking to some of the employees. They're both Cuban. One was born here in the United States. One was born in Cuba. And the family photos on the wall are their parents' and grandparents' wedding photos. So it felt like someone's like mom was making me sandwiches. It was
and you
delicious.
know what? They were so good.
Yeah, they were.
As we were sitting there eating, I was reading more about a Paladar, and this is the only Cuban micro bakery in St. Augustine.
And the bread, amazing. So again, a little out of the way for some people, but there are so many like touristy places in St. Augustine that it felt really fun to go somewhere clearly local, clearly like passionate family business, immigrants. Like, why would we not want to eat delicious Cuban food?
I could not recommend this spot enough if you are here coming out there to visit or you live here. It's just so good.
And now, speaking of historic places, we're headed to probably the most famous thing in St. Augustine.
Okay, we are all fueled up and now headed to a historic lighthouse. Now, I'm gonna just get my notes here because I couldn't believe Molly's pointing out the lighthouse. We are going to go up there. This lighthouse first construction in this area was in 1589. Yeah, Molly, known lover of history and timelines, it's been around a while.
This happens every time I go anywhere old, like when we were in Japan, which is much older than this, or like when we go to France, and anytime I'm anywhere somewhere where there's something old, I don't understand how they built it. How did they build that in 15 whatever you just said?
I don't believe that is the construction from 1589. However, this area was first settled and had its first buildings in this historic district in 1589.
Okay, but I guarantee we're going to go learn when that was built, and it was really old, and how did they do it?
You're right, I might be wrong. We're learning as we go here.
Do that?
Because learning is cool.
Like without modern technology, I don't get it.
Pulleys, ladders, bravery. The tickets for St. Augustine's historic lighthouse and museum were about $14, or just under $15 per person, and it gets you access to not only the St. Augustine Lighthouse, but the Maritime Museum as well.
All right, we're about to climb 219 steps up, 14 stories to the tippy top of this here lighthouse. But I have learned that it was a watchtower beginning in 1586, so super old, and then it became a lighthouse officially in 1824, and then this structure was built between 1871 and 1874. It has been redone since then, but also we're learning all kinds of fun facts about, like, you know, before electricity, the lightkeepers had to go up every 2.5 hours to refill the oil so that, you know, the ships could see it, as that is the whole point of the lighthouse. And I gotta say, as I stand here looking up with the clouds moving, it kind of wobbles and I'm getting a little stressed out running up all those steps. Now, I know we're not at a theme park, so you didn't expect me to be talking about height requirements, but you actually have to be 44 inches tall to go all the way up to the top of the lighthouse and accompanied by an adult. You cannot have anyone in a carrier. So if you've got kids, just keep that in mind. They also told us if it's too windy up at the top, they may even have further restrictions because they don't want anyone to get hurt, but just keep that in mind. It's pretty windy today. I think they're enforcing that. But this is all about fuel, whale oil, lard oil, kerosene, and electricity. And these are the big 100-gallon oil butts, said butts, that would house the fuel. Okay, hold on. This says that the lightkeeper kept the light burning from dusk to dawn. Each evening, oil was heated by the fireplace and carried. It was a 5-gallon that weighed 30 pounds. Are you cut out to be a lightkeeper? Can you carry it?
I mean, yes, that'd be rough, but
You have to carry it up all the stairs.
Yeah. Your boys had some guns. All right.
I mean, yeah, I can pick it up, but I would not like to walk up 14 stories.
219 steps. Before we make our way up the lighthouse itself, I just wanted to show you this 2-person wrench that was used to adjust the acorn nuts that support the gallery at the top of the lighthouse. The wrench itself weighs about 60 pounds. Yeah, 2 people indeed. And so it begins, the 14-story journey up to the top of this lighthouse. All right, we are off. We have just hit the first landing. Apparently we burned 24 calories on the way up, good for us. Also, this gentleman on the right here, where the finger is pointing and now Molly's finger is pointing, is believed to be the only rare surviving picture of William Russell, who's the man who first lit the current St. Augustine Lighthouse. Here's his silhouette. We are going to be a lighthouse legend, hashtag first climb for us going up this lighthouse. Right there is our 43rd step, so only 176 to go. Some fast math.
128 to go.
We're learning all kinds of fun facts here about lightning strikes on this landing, where it tells us you should not be in the tower if there's lightning, because this lighthouse is struck by lightning several times each year.
We're not going to trip.
Oh, wow.
Get windy. This better be worth it.
All right, we made it. Now here is, we can see through the glass here, this is the lighthouse keeper's room as the light is spinning through the lens up top there.
Oh, it is so windy.
Wow, what a pretty view. I am having one piece of my body connected to this at all times. As the wind blows and Molly feels it. I don't know if you can't hear me now, dear viewer, but the wind is quite blustery. Never before has the phrase "I fear the wind" been so applicable than it is right now. Yeah, what a beautiful view. I just find it wild that if you look out, you can see the clouds, or the shadows of the clouds as it passes over the landscape. What a very, very cool and serene thing.
You know, in a way, going down is worse. Because it's like, if I trip going up, I'm just gonna bang my shin. If I trip going down, gravity is taking me for a tumble. Going very slow. Whew. Well, I definitely have a little jello-y feeling in my legs.
I'm very happy that I did that.
And very happy to be on the ground again.
Yes, it was a beautiful view.
It was, but also getting up there, I definitely did not want to carry that 30-pound bucket.
Yeah, that, again, kudos to any of the lighthouse keepers who had to do that.
I don't think I would have survived in a time before the time I live in now. I don't think I could do life without electricity. I wouldn't do it.
Well,
Couldn't make it.
speaking of that life, we're going to go explore some of the more museum portions of this entire experience and take you with us.
Okay, we're in the keeper's home now in an exhibit called At Home with the Harns. And here he is right here, William Harn, the head lighthouse keeper. There's his wife, Kate. And we're going to learn a little bit more about their lives, which again, couldn't be me. Case in point.
Checkers?
I hate checkers. I'd probably be good at it if I didn't have anything else to do. I do love whenever they have like old beauty products and kitchenware. I find that very interesting. This is actually very cool because if you click the different things, it'll tell you different fun facts about different people in the family about using this, like how they would get ready and things. It's actually a very fun and well-done museum. It says that the Harns were the first keeper's family to live in the home when it was completed in 1875. And this room was their parlor living room area, and most of the cooking would have been done outside in the outdoor kitchen, because back in the day, kitchens were often separate from the home because of fire. This is interesting. It says once a year a supply ship delivered necessities, and there was a traveling library as a source of education and entertainment for the keeper and his family. These children were normally homeschooled because the nearest school would have been an hour walk and boat ride into town. Any of these books look interesting to you? You've got The Library Choice of Literature, Southern Explorer, Helen's Babies, and Miss Mayburn's Twins. I think I would like to read The Library of Choice Literature. And unsurprising, a literally ginormous Bible. Oh my gosh, the game of euchre. I played that with my family, with my grandparents and aunts and uncles when I visit in Iowa. That's so fun. I'm going to send a picture to them.
Just walking through here and saw this coincidental connection poster about the sinking of the Jefferson Davis ship that happened on Check's notes the 18th of August, 1861. Happy birthday to me. We have made our way downstairs to the shipwreck recovery section here, where we have a whole host of items that were taken off of the wrecked ship that we had mentioned earlier. The most interesting one over here is the Brown Bess, which is the land pattern 75 caliber musket, along with musket balls, lead shot, and some of the different British Regiment buttons and American Royal Provincial Regiment buttons. How interesting.
So on this wheel, you can read what some people would say as the ship was sinking. This lady wants a cup of tea. This guy says he will resemble a tatterdemalion without his watch he lost. I will be looking up that in a second. But the most upsetting one is this formerly enslaved person who says she hopes that even though everything she owned is now lost to the bottom of the sea, she hopes that her liberty is secured and she doesn't have to return to slavery. So, American history is fun. Update. Tatterdemalion would be used to describe someone or something as ragged, shabby, or dilapidated. I kind of like that, but I'm going to have to keep researching it before I add it to my repertoire to make sure it was not used in a worse connotation. But anyway, I learned a new word today.
From the x-ray earlier, here is the actual weapon, the British Brown Bess. The one at the top here was actually loaded, cocked, and ready to be fired aboard the ship. And this one was not. Amongst another series of pieces that would be found with the gun, you have the flintlock, leather jaw pad, gun flint, paper and fiber, wadding, and the buck and ball. This was a type of musket loading process that would cause more damage, where you would actually, inside the musket, pour in the black powder, put in the buck, and then the ball on top. So when it fired, it actually would spray apart a little bit like a shotgun shell and do maximal damage.
Also, this ship sank in the Revolutionary War time, but in regards to the wheel I was just reading, I read more information that the British offered enslaved Americans freedom if they'd fight on their side. So that's what that was referring to. Here, though, is where the British brought over Harry Potter to help in the fight with their cauldrons.
Jeez.
Just kidding. These are just old cauldrons. But it's very cool to see this stuff, knowing it was all on the bottom of the ocean, and a huge archaeological dig had to go down there and figure out how much they could save and salvage and bring up. Okay, this next thing is visually very beautiful, and it says that these were originally used as the cisterns to store rainwater, and then they would use that water for various things around the house. But for now, they have these very cool, like, paper almost ships, and it looks like ships sailing the way that it's lit. And I just really like this.
That was a fun time. I really enjoyed, well, once we were back on solid ground, exploring and going through the different houses in the museum.
Personally, I cared for the lighthouse portion more than the museum. I liked the different displays as you went up and the different information as you went up and learning about like how the lighthouse functioned, because that's obviously something I don't know anything about. But you know, walking through the museum was nice as well. I definitely think the lighthouse is worth the trip if you are coming here.
Yeah, it was such a cool, like this entire experience just to learn about how this is operated and the fact that it has had some presence as a naval guide outpost since the 1500s is nuts. So definitely worth checking out.
And speaking of old things,
wow, you crushed that.
I'm gonna Ponce on this next segue.
Like a leon.
Or I'd be leonin if I said I wasn't excited.
All right, okay. Look at all of the peacocks here. We can't go inside. This area literally says, keep out peacocks only, so I shan't be joining them. In the distance, look at his delightful plumage. Look at him over there, so regal.
There's a girl, and I know that because she's less fancy.
But I do love the little trill feathers at the top of her head. Those are quite nice. Welcome to America's first and underlined colony. Yep, and we are the location of the oldest continuously inhabited European settlement and first Catholic mission to the United States. Huzzah.
Okay, we've made it into the Fountain of Youth, where we are going to drink the water, and I was told that the more I believe, the faster it'll work. So prepare not to recognize me. Also, this is the oldest tourist attraction in Florida, and there's these pictures of famous people that have come to see it, including, I find this interesting, Amelia Earhart and Helen Keller with Anne Sullivan. There's also in here some learnings about the Native Americans who were here first, and the Spanish, I'm sure, being nothing but kind to them.
And here we have an authentic Timucuan dugout canoe, along with a whole host of other Native American artifacts here that were found in the vicinity. But as jazzed as I am about a canoe that would certainly make it across the rivers of America, I'm more excited about going and sipping from the Fountain of Youth because apparently it will work just as fast as we believe, and I believe. Cheers.
To your youth. Do I look younger?
Yes.
I saw a lot of people reacting to the taste of the water, but it just tastes like Florida water, which isn't great, but used to it.
Well, I don't know about you, Molly, but I feel youthful.
Do I look younger?
Yes. And now we are headed deeper into this entire exhibit area. We want to find the village and the blacksmith. Molly is our navigator.
Yeah, but this is bad. We want to go over here.
Oh.
And that's the planetarium.
Okay, so see, we need to go that way, yeah.
Maybe,
do you want to trade?
No. I am like the explorers, but nicer.
And here we have another of the Timucuan-style dugout canoes. This is so long. So many canoes. What? Oh. Molly's been shouting at me. There is a very bright, stark white male peacock. And Molly's enthralled with it. And just around the corner here, we have the Lost Tribes of Florida with the names listed here. And it says, as you read through this information, it talks about how in the 1500s the Native American populations are greatly impacted by disease and slavery brought by the Europeans in their colonization efforts. And I think it's important that this type of history is acknowledged. It's good that this is here and that we are able to see this printed this way. And now we are moving into the Timucuan family home, which is called an anoti, an enclosed family home where Molly has gone beyond the rope.
No, I haven't.
And she has now looked inside the family home, which, oh wow, you looking inside, you have some beds, a table, workspaces, and of course the fire pit at the center, which would exit out through the chimney. What's up?
They hunted sharks, which...
I mean, they needed food. It was sort of a sustainable thing for them. Bison shoulder blades, etc.
So first thing I got to do is get my metal hot. Now blacksmiths don't use thermometers. We judge the heat by the color. And we'll start by flattening two sides of our nail. Now we go back and make sure it's smooth and straight. But wait a minute. it's missing something. Now, to put a head on a nail, all we gotta do is hit the nail on the head. Watch it, I'll show you. Hit the nail on the head. Y'all see that squish?
I love this stuff. It is so interesting.
I am always fascinated by blacksmiths, even today. If you ever meet like a traditional blacksmith who knows how to do that, it's fascinating and very cool. That demonstration was great.
Yeah, he was very interesting. And now we're headed to a cannon demonstration.
I'm sorry, crossbow and cannon demonstration.
I really do enjoy things like this. It's a beautiful day, first of all. And it's nice to walk around outside and learn about, you know, history and how people lived.
Yeah, and you know, maybe mistakes they made so we don't repeat them.
Like picking up nails with your fingers.
Yes,
Hot
while
nails.
hot.
I'm gonna try and pick buckets up.
Okay.
They're all the same though.
It's a ratio of weight. 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 4 to 1. That's 1 to 1.
That one's the easiest.
They want me to tie a knot. Okay. Cross. Go around twice. 1, 2. Yep. Then we come here, cross again. Reef knot.
Did you do it?
No, I didn't. I should do it twice. Sorry, I need to go one more here. That's the knot. Nailed it. Okay. One of the most basic knots. Tie a reef knot backwards and you'll have a thief knot.
Are you a thief?
Backwards.
You're the best of us.
Backwards.
Are you doing it?
Yeah.
Are you just making things up?
I said backwards. I just did it backwards.
I don't know if that would pass in a maritime
Thanks,
test, but
nobody's judging, so here we go.
I thought it was good.
Thank you.
Projectiles they fired were not called arrows, they're called bolts or quarrels. It has to lay flat in that groove so it only has fletching or fins on two sides. That means it's not going to be as accurate as an arrow fired from a regular bow. They have 3 fletches at a slight angle that gives it a spin that makes the bolt more accurate.
Viva St. Augustine! Fuego!
All right, we're gonna scoot and skedaddle now because there's some dark clouds coming and look like rain. But that cannon fire demonstration was very cool. Now, normally they told us they use in like the times they'd actually be firing those cannons, it would be 2 pounds of gunpowder utilized to fire a cannon. Although we were informed that had 2 pounds of black powder been used to fire a cannon today, we would have been deaf for an hour. So I'm quite thankful we didn't do that because I like hearing.
Also, they didn't fire a real cannonball today because obvious reasons. I think.
Yeah, maybe, well, it's pretty dangerous. And they only actually used 2 ounces of black powder to fire today. So when you hear the audio of that, that's only 2 ounces of black powder. So I frankly can only imagine what 2 pounds would sound like.
I also enjoyed the crossbow demonstration.
He's a mean shot.
Yeah, this is so fun. There's more exhibits, but again, pending rain. But we could have spent another hour here doing more exhibit, an archaeological dig and some other things. So I thought this was really fun.
I agree. I think given the opportunity and no rain,
Yeah,
would have done more.
and we're getting younger as we speak.
It's true.
All right, we went and checked into our hotel, which is the Homewood Suites, if anyone's asking, and it was fine. And now we are in the downtown district of St. Augustine, which is super cute. Navigator Alan's directing me this way. Okay, and what's cute is that there's this little downtown district, there's a hop off and on trolley with multiple stops, but everything at this point is pretty walkable, so it's just up to you which thing you'd like to do. We were gonna walk right past this, but I think we must go into America's first wax museum here. Great news, friends. There's a window of hands, but we're, spoiler alert, doing a ghost tour later, and we get to go into the museum as part of the ghost tour, so saving that, and we're gonna continue our jaunt. Future Molly here. As a note, we did visit the Wax Museum as part of the upcoming ghost tour. However, we only visited one part of it specific to this experience. So if you do want to experience the full joy of Potter's Wax Museum, you will need to go for the operating hours during the day. And as the person who drug Alan and his friends back there the next day can tell you with full confidence, worth it. on.
Yeah.
What was your favorite wax figure?
Walt Disney.
What was your least favorite wax
Snow
figure?
White.
That she did look alarming.
It was a choice.
Yeah.
Choices were made. What about
Choices were
yours?
made.
Favorite?
My favorite was Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Your least favorite?
My least favorite were some of the political figures of present and past that I can't believe are in there. But in a more fun answer, Voldemort, maybe?
Oh,
I
yes,
really
with the face
hated that.
divot.
Actually, maybe I'm on Max's team about Dobby now.
Up next, we are headed to the Teeny Martini Bar with a great view of the water. This is a place that was recommended to us by Shay Spence, at the Shay Spence, a close friend and incredibly knowledgeable foodie. So I'm excited to try it out. If it's highly recommended by Shay, I want to check it out. The Teeny Martini Bar, as the name would suggest, has a whole host of martinis on the menu, starting with everything from the classic English martini all the way down to delightful upgrades like the cappuccino martini. They also have some signature cocktails like the Sunset Spritzer or Bloody Mary, as well as a selection of wines and non-alcoholic beverages. Molly and I decided to go with the classic English martini. While mine was made with gin and had blue cheese olives, Molly's was made with vodka and had a lemon twist. These were both very well-made classic martinis, and I certainly hope so, given the fact that this bar is named after martinis. But let me tell you, they were anything but teeny.
The real treat of this location, besides the gorgeous view, is the fact that they are shaken tableside, and the remainder of the shaker bottle is left with you and your drink. I think it was about 1.5 to 2 martinis each in there, making it a great bang for your buck. Also, we both tried blue cheese stuffed olives for the first time, and you can see how that went.
All right, well, that was a very fun time.
When you get a martini at the Teeny, they're anything but teeny.
Yeah, I feel like that name is lie.
It
But
was like 2 each. It was like 1.5 in that shaker.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, especially when you, it was $30 for 2 drinks, but it definitely wasn't just 2 drinks.
Yeah, that was an awesome spot. Beautiful view. And now we are headed to dinner. But there's so many cute places around here to eat. There's a bunch of treat shops, little museums and stores. Like, it's just cute.
Yeah. And I'm excited for dinner, because, food.
For dinner tonight, we are headed to the famous Columbia restaurant, which at its original location in Tampa has been open since 1905. It actually began in 1903 when it opened as the Columbia Saloon, and then it changed to the restaurant in 1905. But it was opened by a Spanish-Cuban immigrant named Casimiro Hernandez Sr., and it is still owned by his family today. The 4th and 5th generations of the Hernandez family own the restaurant. Now, again, the original of the restaurant is located in Tampa, but they have opened a few across Florida since 1905, including one here, obviously, as well as one not too far from Walt Disney World in Celebration, Florida, which, fun fact, is kind of modeled after Walt Disney's idea for Epcot, where it's like an idealistic town. Despite there being one near Walt Disney World in a place I've been frequently, being Celebration, I've never eaten at this restaurant, so I'm very, very excited. Inside the Columbia restaurant, it's designed to look like you're in a family home, complete with beautiful fountains, tile work, and family photos. And taking a look at the menu, there's a variety of cocktails, including a private barrel collection, some famous drinks like their 1905 Sazerac, family wines, and they are known for their sangria. But we decided to skip that today because of, again, the Teeny Martini Bar. Continuing on, they have a variety of soups, including some that have been on the menu since the restaurant opened, salads featuring their famous 1905 salad, a variety of Spanish tapas, more on those in a moment, and platos principales, which are main plates. These are a variety of things such as different fish dishes, paella, ropa vieja, pollo manchego, and other delicious Spanish eats. The menu finishes with a variety of Spanish coffees, cordials, and of course, desserts.
Our meal started off with some crusty bread and a side of butter, which, listen, I'm never going to turn down carbs. I started off the meal with a Spanish bean soup, and this is the soup that made the Columbia famous. It's made with garbanzo beans, simmered with smoked ham, chorizo sausage, and potatoes, and a delicious broth of chicken and ham. This was a very hearty dish that was very deep and rich in flavor, coming from the ham and the chicken. The beans were not overcooked, they didn't fall apart, they still had some texture, and then you'd get that nice smoky ham chunk in every bite. This tasted like a Nona made it, and I loved it.
Next up, of course, we had to get the Columbia's original 1905 salad, which is a salad they've been serving since the restaurant opened, and it's been called one of the best salads in the United States. This salad was inspired by the immigrants to Cigar City, where the original location is, and it's made with Romano cheese from the Sicilians, the famous garlic dressing used by Cubans to marinate fresh pork, plus Florida tomatoes, iceberg lettuce, julienne baked ham, and Swiss cheese. And as a fun bonus fact, the lettuce is sourced from a family-owned farm in California and Arizona. This salad was delicious and absolutely lives up to the hype. In fact, when we posted this on Instagram, so many of you reached out and said you loved the 1905 salad. It was crisp, it was fresh, a little saltiness from the ham, little bit of nuttiness from the cheeses, but what really shines is that garlic dressing. It's a vinaigrette style, so it's not too heavy, but it's got that olive oil and that garlic flavor. Ooh, this was fantastic. I absolutely could have used this as an entree salad.
Now for our main, we tried the tapeo sampler, which is a Spanish tradition of sharing small plates and foods with family. So this was perfect for the two of us because I was quite hungry. And this allowed us to try more on the menu rather than buying larger entree sizes. The first thing we sampled was the Ybor City Devil Crab Croquettes. These are 4 shareable crab croquettes served with a side of Colombia hot sauce. And interestingly enough, this recipe was found in the archives of Carmen Hernandez, which is the wife of Casimiro Jr., the second generation owner of the Colombia restaurant. These croquettes had a nice crispy exterior and so much crab inside. It wasn't overly fishy, you could tell that it was fresh and very rich and had just a slight amount of saltiness coming from the sea. When paired with that hot sauce, adding some bright acidity and heat to the dish, I really like this a lot. And I normally don't go for crab dishes.
We also tried the empanadas de picadillo, which were a family grandmother's recipe. These are made with spiced ground beef, garlic, tomatoes, onions, raisins, and olives, and were delightful, especially when adding that signature Colombia hot sauce. These were hearty, rich, little bit of heat from the hot sauce, lots of comfort food flavor with the ground beef cooked perfectly with those vegetables, little bit of briny acidity because of the olives, fantastic, simple deliciousness.
But the best thing we had were shrimp and crab meat alcachofas. This is baked casserole of shrimp, crab meat, and artichoke hearts topped with grated Romano cheese and served with Cuban crackers. A real quick side note here, the bread that you got at the start of the meal, also a great dipping vessel for this alcachofa. This was incredible. It was a very elevated artichoke dip to me with that nice, sharp, acidic artichoke flavor paired well with the shrimp and crab meat, of which there was so much in every bite. I love the Romano cheese on top. It was nice and nutty. This was just a well-balanced dish that hit on all cylinders. I'm never going to turn down an artichoke dip, and I'm certainly not going to turn it down when it's been plussed up this much.
Why don't we eat there in Orlando?
Because we're fools, Molly. We're fools.
We can enjoy the flavors of them, though, anytime we want, now that I bought the hot sauce and put it in my purse. I'm like Beyonce. Hot sauce in my bag swag.
Yeah, that is
all that was keeping me from being Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
The food was awesome. The food was amazing. The service was amazing. The restaurant was beautiful. How fun that it's a 5th generation family-owned restaurant.
And it's just, I think the cornerstone of this is very, very good food that is made by generations of folks. And I will be going in Orlando now.
Yeah, and now we've got to get to the ghost tour, but I think we have just enough time to get a sweet treat.
We do?
I saw this ice cream shop outside of the restaurant, and it said homemade sprinkles, which I found very intriguing, which you can see right there. But this is also a house-made waffle cone, and it's 2 scoops. This one's called Parent Trap, and it's Oreo peanut butter, and if you get it, you get it. This one is a bourbon and pecan ice cream. It's 21 and older because it's got wild turkey bourbon in it. Both are fantabulous, and we are going to be sharing this exquisite cone on our way to the next adventure, but this is delicious.
After a delicious meal, we are headed to our final, well actually no, not our final, we're headed to one of our final stops for the evening, the Ghost and...
Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum.
Please no.
I
have something else booked. It is the Ghost and Gravestone tour that is going to take us on a trolley throughout St. Augustine as they uncover the darker history of St. Augustine, or as the phone line would suggest when I called in and tried to make a booking for this tour. It's going to take us to an old jail, to a wax museum, and more as we explore the dark side of St. Augustine and learn some of its more sinister ghost stories.
Now, I watch a lot of horror movies, so I feel pretty confident with what to do with ghosts. First of all, never doubt them. All these dummies in horror movies are like, there's not a ghost here, and the ghost is like, bet. So first of all, accept that they're there. Second of all,
Step one, they're
get,
there.
Get rid of children. Children are haunted. That's just a fact. That is
Step
what
two,
I've learned.
Haunted children.
If you've got kids and they say, I have a new friend in my room, believe them and then leave them. Step 3, if you know the ghost's name, it can get rid of them, as seen in the Conjuring franchise with Valak the evil nun. So as long as we learn all these ghosts' names, we will be fine.
Now, while there is nothing explicitly graphic on this tour, there is mention of ghosts, gallows, and some dark stories. So if you'd like to avoid that, skip to the timestamp below on the screen. We are beginning our Ghosts and Graveyards tour here in the Room of Paranormal Curiosities, which is mostly just wax faces on a wall, and I gotta tell you, I'm disturbed by that. Amongst other wares from books to saws, which are a totally normal collection. Oh yeah, and a buffalo in the wall. What a normal series of items here.
Also, mention of the ever scary Pepper's ghost, which is the effect used in the ballrooms in a haunted mansion. Very scary. Very scary.
The many strange and unusual stories we are going to share this evening span well over 450 years of St. Augustine history, and they are based in historical fact. Join me, everyone, on the trolley of the doomed. My first story took place right in front of us. You see that big oak tree? The year was 1850. Two young lads, two young teenagers, boys, they decided to put the myths and the legend of the old haunted Talamato to rest. They thought the best way they could do that was to spend the night here, and that's exactly what they did. They put their tent right near that big tree in front of us. In the darkness, 35 feet in front of them, as if hovering above the ground, was a woman in a long gray gown. She had long flowing gray hair. She slowly turned toward these boys. She had no visible face. Those boys did probably what any of us would do. They ran from the cemetery. There's one gate to our far left. Those boys never returned. One night they were here in the plaza, the town square. We're driving by there in a little bit, telling that story. And a very sad old man came from the back of the crowd, and he ominously said, "I know of what you speak." As the old man proceeded to say that over a century before that, a woman was to be married. Tragically, she died 2 days before her impending marriage. As a tribute, her family had her buried in her wedding dress, veil and all. Well, this made perfect sense to the boys. You see, a century of death, soil, and decay explained the gray hair, the gray dress, and no visible face. Well, those boys never returned to this cemetery, but they never changed their story. Kindred spirits and others believe someone has returned. Many believe it is the ghost bride.
All right, we learned some very unsettling stories from the cemetery, and now we're headed to Potter's Drug Store and Wax Museum.
The magician's table we spoke of earlier was left behind. You see, one of the Spicinger brothers fancied himself, and I'm going to be kind here, he fancied himself to be a bit of a mortician. You could also call him the first embalmer of St. Augustine. That portable mortician's table was found right here where you folks are standing. This is where he practiced his craft on the recently deceased of St. Augustine, if these walls could talk. If you're being watched or followed, please, I recommend no eye contact and follow me, okay?
We're going into the Chamber of Horrors. We are going into a wax museum in the dark, which is quite literally the scariest thing I can think of. And into a room called the Chamber of Horrors, and I'm so happy. Oh, it's Madame Tussauds. What are we gonna find? I don't know, but I'm so thrilled. I've literally never been more excited to do anything in my whole life. Why get through a wax museum at night? The founding fathers. Helen, what's over here? It's more presidents. We gotta come back in the daytime. This is excellent. Frank! How are you, pal? See you soon in Orlando. Is that Captain Jack?
Well, good for you.
Right here we have a replica of that girl. It was designed to inflict the most possible pain and suffering before a very slow, agonizing death. Now, for the next part of my story, I could use a young man. You, on the other hand, sir, do not. Can you help me?
I would love to.
Yeah.
All right. So right
Yes.
here, sir.
It's everything I've ever wanted.
1684 in our town plaza, folks. Andrew Ransom, the most feared pirate of the day, was executed. Everyone was there that fateful day. We were all anxiously awaiting when finally the guest of honor arrived, the executioner, and he read the name of the crimes of the guilt. Andrew Ransom!
Andrew Ransom, for the crime of piracy against the Spanish, you are to be executed by garroting. Do you have any final words for the crowd? No, you don't. Fantastic. This rope is going to go around your neck, go through this post, be tied off to this bat right here. You see the bat will be twisted and twisted and twisted, and the rope will get tighter and tighter around your thieving pirate neck. And you will die in one of three ways. Suffocation, blood loss, great, or my personal favorite, decapitation! Yeah!
We were even placing bets. How many turns of the rope will it take to end this thieving?
On the second turn of the rope, he pulled something from his pocket. But what could it be? What do you have in your pocket? Catholic rosary beads!
Yes.
Yeah! But what was an English pirate, a Protestant, doing with Catholic rosary beads? Well, they're not going to help you now. On the third turn of the rope, he started to gag and gasp for air. Oh, we got an actor up here, don't we? On the fourth turn of the rope, he couldn't breathe at all. He was reaching for his neck. And on the fifth turn of the rope, his face started turning purple and blood was going down his neck. You don't have to do that one. And on the sixth twist of the rope, what do you think happened next?
He died.
I like that answer. On the sixth twist of the rope, the rope snapped in two,
Yeah.
and everybody in the crowd gasped.
Hooray!
Let's try that again, shall we? Everybody gasped.
Gasp! Gasp.
A member of the clergy rushed forward and said, "We have seen a miracle. This man has been spared by God." And they rushed him off the stage and into the sanctuary of the church here in town. As you're going to the sanctuary of the crowd, get off my stage. And everybody gave Andrew Ransom a round of applause.
Next up, we are headed to the old jail, where they're up back there, both the gallows and the hanging tree. And on the way inside, we listened to an EVP, an electronic voice phenomenon, where ghost hunters, local ghost hunters to St. Augustine, asked the question, how many people are hung on the hanging tree? And it said, 8?
Allegedly.
We'll see what we find out tonight.
We're going into the old jail now. We're going to start through the kitchen and then go through solitary confinement. No big deal. And then we're going to talk about people being dangled from trees in the back, which definitely was not fun for them.
You think?
Yeah, just like a nice way to say that. And all I can think about is how ridiculous I find the TV show Ghost Adventures, and yet here I am hoping for my own ghost adventure. The sheriff is there. Here I am just wanting to live my own horror movie. Oh my god, it's happening. It's happening anyway. Oh my god. I shouldn't have said that. That was a nightmare. For real.
Gallows out back. This is solitary confinement over my right shoulder. You can't see your hand in front of your face. They had a little bucket for a bathroom. They were in there for 30 days at a time if they got out. Folks, again, look at this photo behind me. How are we doing, folks? Is everybody in? Yeah. Folks, I'm really sorry about these lights. They're not really supposed to be off. Give me a second. Let me check on them, please.
This is amazing. Chaos. Chaos ensues. Chaos. Woo!
Yeah, he's alright, he's alright. He's good. Just tied up. Howdy.
Howdy.
Name's Charlie. So nice to meet y'all. I tell you. You see, every time those motor mouth, Peter Pan talking, looking leprechauns come in here,
You know, I think it's past St. Patty's Day, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is he in here? Not yet? Still got? No. Man, I don't know what's going on. But anyhow, I had to shut him up. So name's Charlie. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the real talk. We're going to get right to it, y'all. Y'all see that Kodiak up there on the wall? Yeah, let's get to it, because there's a lot of things we need to know about this jail that them folks. Yeah, I'm in jail wearing these stripes.
Through the woods, because it was a shortcut. They said a lot of time. So George was waiting for them. And if they traveled by themselves, they would be in trouble, because he would jump down on the horse and wagon, he'd take out his neck, and he wouldn't stop. He'd reach in and take out their insides, cut off pieces of them, spread it out in the woods. He made it look like an animal did it, y'all. Got away with it for a long time.
Incredible. 5 stars.
It was a tour that took you all around St. Augustine. You did get to tour some spots that we saw during the day, going to the Wax Museum, the old jail.
I would like to go back to both of them because you go in for like a specific part of this tour, but I would like to see both those things at some point in my life, like on their own. It's not, if you're expecting to go see the full Wax Museum, you're not going to.
No, you're going to hear a couple of stories about those specific places, about people who were once occupied those spaces, and I think it was a fun way to spend 80 minutes. It starts at $34, and it's depending upon availability upon season, but for the two of us, I thought it was just a really fun way to spend the evening listening to some ghost stories.
I thought the production value was higher than I expected.
It certainly was.
I did not expect other participants to show up. I did not expect to actually get a little scared at one point. And I would like to note that we did confirm none of the places we saw are actually where anyone was unalived, which makes me feel better about the entertainment aspect of this.
Specifically when we saw the gallows.
Those are not
they
real
were not
gallows.
real gallows. So, but all that said, there were a ton of families on this tour. It was a very fun, this certainly felt like an all ages experience. It was just a fun way to go spend 80 minutes. And now...
I had a great time.
Yeah, I did too. And now I'm going to go to a place that I've been looking forward to all day. And our final stop for the day is Prohibition Kitchen, which is a 1920s Prohibition-themed gastropub where you can pick up some delicious eats and specialty drinks. And based on what I saw of the menu and the vibe of the restaurant, I could think of no better place to finish our day at St. Augustine. The menu at Prohibition Kitchen is wide and varied, starting with small plates and snacks like a German-style pretzel or the deviled eggs. From there you have soups and salad like their beer cheese soup and the black and blue salad. Then you move into their craft burgers and sandwiches with their PK signature burger and their short rib grilled cheese. Then they have the build your own burger section, which was very intriguing, followed by their mains with things like the braised short rib and the pan-seared salmon. You could also pick up some hand-spun milkshakes and floats, alongside some of their other desserts like the Mahdi rum bread pudding.
Taking a look at the cocktail menu, or as they're called, remedies and prescriptions, we have a variety of fun twists on classic cocktails like the Purple Lemur, the Trollio, and the St. Augustine Sunset. There's also an extensive spirit list primarily featuring whiskeys, bourbons, and rums. Unsurprisingly, we were both drawn to the create your own old-fashioned situation, where you choose your own bourbon, including some single barrels made just for Prohibition Kitchen, as well as your bitters and sweeteners. I went for the Prohibition Kitchen Single Barrel Woodford. Alan went for the Eagle Rare. I went for orange bitters. He went for barrel aged, and we both went for the Demerara syrup, which is less sweet. These were very well made classic old fashions. Nothing out of the ordinary, but very fun that you get to create your own and use these special barrels.
As far as food goes, we had to pick up the charcuterie board. This is, as they labeled it, the charcuterie and cheese, made with sweetgrass dairy, spotted totter charcuterie, Sunday sourdough served with a blueberry pepper jelly. I love this. It was very simple. You had some pieces of toasted sourdough bread, a whole selection of nice mild cheeses, and I loved the blueberry pepper jelly. Lightly sweet, had a little bit of that grassy peppery heat on the back end, and of course the selections of meat, of which we had capicola and braciola, and it was very tasty. I'm a happy camper when I have an adult Lunchable in front of me, so I was incredibly happy here.
Also had to grab some of the deviled eggs, which are listed as a seasonal chef selection, and I was tickled to find out that it was cheeseburger deviled eggs. It started with the creamy, eggy, delicious, mustardy filling of a deviled egg, and it was also topped with some beef, red onion, pickle, and cheddar cheese. Two of my favorite foods combined into one. What could be more delicious than this? There was a little sweetness from the sauce on top of the cheeseburger, plus you had that eggy flavor from the deviled egg, little bit of cheese, little bit of zip from the onion and pickle. These were 5 stars. I hope Alan can figure out how to make these at home because I will dream about these for a while.
All right, well, that was a fantastic day in St. Augustine. I have to know, what was your favorite part?
Ghost tour, obviously. As a Halloween girly, I loved it so much. It was so like kitschy and whimsical and wonderful and weird. But also, you know, the food we had at the Cuban restaurant was amazing. In Colombia, all the food we've had today.
Yeah, I think the food is incredible. I'm gonna go back to Paladar. It was just so incredible. I loved it. What a way to kick off our day in St. Augustine. But yeah, I think this was just such a fun experience. Let us know where you'd like to see us travel to next, be it either in Florida or around the continent of the United States.
Or beyond.
Or beyond, internationally.
We know you guys love us for theme park content, but we love bringing you some
Yeah.
stuff outside the theme parks as well. So yeah, definitely let us know down below.
It's been such a joy to come and experience this area, and I can't wait to do it elsewhere. But until next time, friends, please be sure to like this video, subscribe if you're new, follow us on all of our socials, and come join us on Discord. We would love to have you there. Links for all that are down below.
And until next time, friends, I'm Molly.
And I'm Alan.
And it has been beautiful.